Welcome to People in Perspective. I'm Ben Gembara, and joining me on this program is Kristin Gembara, a master gardener. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
So, how did you get into gardening?
Well, when I was, I'd have to say when I was a little girl, I probably enjoyed gardening. My mom, I grew up in the city of Chicago, and my mom and dad had an empty lot next door to them. And my mom had a huge garden. And when I was naughty, she would make me go into the garden and weed. And I never told her that I actually liked to weed. And so I would just stay out there and work her garden, and that's how I probably started gardening.
So, what is a master gardener anyways?
Well, a master gardener is a person who's been trained through the University of Illinois Master Garden Program. And we are a volunteer corps, and we volunteer in our community. And a master gardener has studied many things in the gardening conservation group, like perennials, shrubs and trees, soils, pests, insects, vegetable gardening, maintenance of gardens, and the list goes on.
So, I know you have some plants with you. Can you show me some?
Sure. The first plant that I brought along is a Spirabolus heterolepis. That's the Terra. So I'm going to put it on my knee here. Mm-hmm. This is a native grass to Illinois. It's a prairie dropseed is its common name. Spirabolus is its Latin scientific name. This is what it looks like in its dormant stage, okay? I brought a picture, and this is what you would look, you probably recognize it, because hopefully we're getting I'll put it on my knee, and you can zoom in here. There you go. And that's what Spirabolus, or prairie dropseed, looks like. The second one I brought is an echinacea. You got this one? Echinacea is a native plant to this area. I like echinacea. It's also known as a purple coneflower. Purple coneflower, I brought a picture of, was not discovered until Lewis and Clark crossed the Mississippi and started exploring this area. Nobody knew what this was. And the Native Americans showed them all the benefits of what echinacea could do as far as medicinal purposes. It's a beautiful flower, and you probably recognize that one. The third plant that I brought today, I don't have a picture of, but it's a carex. And it's a type of a grass, and it grows very well in this area, and there are many different kinds of these carexes around. I don't have a flower. It really doesn't flower. It just kind of gets a little bit of a seed head, but it's also a type of a grass. Grasses that are native to this area are very beneficial for many reasons. Native plants are beneficial for reasons of bringing insects to the area that, like bees and that types of thing, that help with vegetables and gardening. Also, it helps with water conservation, which I'm very fond of. Natives tend to have very long root systems. I brought a root chart here. I'll put this on my knee. They have root systems with help with water conservation. Can you see this? Okay, so here is grass. The root system grows about 1 foot. I have some prairie dropseed that I showed you. Here's their root system. It goes down to 9 or 10 feet. I have the echinacea, purple coneflower. Here's their root system, and that goes down to about 10 to 11 feet. So that shows their root system really holds water well, and they don't need a lot. We don't need to spend our money on watering with our water. They'll hold water well.
So, master gardeners do lots of volunteering. Do you have any examples of anything you did?
Oh, yes. Well, first of all, master gardeners are expected to give 20 hours a year of volunteer work. You're also expected to get 10 hours of continuing education. So it's a continuing learning process because things are changing all the time, especially now with the climate changing. We're learning so many things. Ecology is changing constantly. And the first project that I ever did was a community garden in Chicago at a place called Benton House. It's the community garden, it's the community center that I grew up at, and they have a food pantry. It's the only food pantry in the neighborhood of Bridgeport. And the garden that we grew helps with our food pantry. It also gives us an opportunity to teach people that they can grow their own things in their own gardens. And so it's been a great tool. I actually did help with the RB garden this summer. It was planted, and of course the students leave for summer break. And then me as a master gardener came in and did some weeding and staking and tending to and watering. It's a hard summer. It was a drought this summer. I also do farmers markets and things like that. I do a lot of talks on composting. I'm very big on composting. I'm big on water conservation. And what else did we do at the farmers market here in Brookfield? We did some container plantings, showing people that you can plant your own containers. You don't have to have a big area you can grow tomatoes and plants in containers.
So I heard you talk about composting. What is that?
Oh, okay, that's a good question. Composting is a process of breaking down natural types of leaves, and I do composting of our food scraps in our house. I have some worms that I use for that. I do a big composting on just leaves. I have composting of when these types of things break down, when things go dormant, I cut them down and I'll compost the extra greening kinds of things and leaves, and it puts back into the soil. It brings healthiness to the soil. There's microbes, there's bacteria and fungi that work and break down and decompose these kinds of things, and it makes it a natural soil again, hopefully.
So have you studied any other plants other than just native ones?
I've studied lots of different plants, trees. I've studied perennials, shrubs. I'm also very interested in insects and the benefits that insects have. There's insects that are good and there's insects that are not good. There's insects that'll eat your tomatoes, and then there's insects that will eat those insects that will eat your tomatoes, that won't eat your tomatoes. So we have, and that's a natural, organic way of getting rid of insects in your garden. Instead of taking out the Roundup and the chemicals and spraying them, you can bring in or try and get natural pesticides, as in pests, to eat the other pests.
Well, we're just about out of time. So I want to thank my guest, Kristin Gembara, for being on the show today. I'm Ben Gembara. We'll see you next time on People in Perspective.